deck once again, and this time we are running up against Bogles. Notably, our opponent is Farfis here, who is the inventor of the Taking Turns deck in Modern, and also someone who's written for Pure MTGO before. Yeah, that's pretty cool to have a recognisable person as our opponent. Obviously, not entirely sure what our opponent is playing, but could be Taking Turns was our initial thoughts. So we keep this hand. It's not terribly exciting, but it does have a bolt and it does have a Scapeshift, which is the combo kill. So certainly in the dark, it's not bad. Provided our opponent doesn't disrupt us too much. We're onto a second Scapeshift, which isn't very good for us. Just going to run out the Valakut and pass the turn. And cracks a fetch, plays a Core Spirit Dancer, which is good for us as we're able to just lightning bolt that without him getting any draws off that. We're on to Summoner's Pact, which isn't terribly good here, but will allow us to fetch up a Primeval Titan when we hit 6 mana. We draw into a Lightning Bolt, which we are able to use to kill off the Spirit Dancer, which is certainly useful. So yeah, we've drawn into our 2 targeted removal spells, and fortunately our opponent has managed to present us with targets for them to kill, so kind of lucky there in that regard, and kind of unlucky for our opponent. One plays an Ethereal Armor onto his Slippery Boggle, which makes this a 4/4, and quite the threat. We're just able to play a land next turn. Nothing to put down as it stands, unfortunately. That's for 5, puts us down to 7. We find a Sakura Tribe Elder. Yeah, unfortunately we don't have a second green source, so as it stands we actually can't find Primeval Titan and cast it, which is pretty unfortunate for us. It draws a card off Horizon Canopy, plays the Spirit Mantle, which means I cannot block the Boggle, and unfortunately that means we are dead here. So yeah, kind of got lucky and then unlucky, I suppose. As I say, drawing those lightning bolts to keep his core Spirit Dancers off the table was kind of lucky, given that Hexproof / Bogles doesn't have many targets for our targeted removal spells, but yeah, just managed to sort of luck out in the end. Not drawing another green source was pretty unfortunate, and in the end we got sort of flooded out. So yeah, we would have been able to kill next turn as well with Scapeshift, so but did need to kill us that turn, and just about managed it. So yeah, unfortunately we weren't quite able to make it for this turn, and we end up losing game 1. So let's take a look at our sideboard options. Okay, so in terms of our sideboard options against Bogles, we are looking at a Nature's Claim, Reclamation Sage, and that's kind of about it. We can essentially bring in Anger of the Gods, but we've already got 2 Sweltering Suns, and there is potential for that to be a dead card. Obviously once they get their Hexproof guy over 3 toughness, then obviously cards like Anger don't really do anything. So I'm kind of in 2 minds as to whether that's a card that needs to be brought in. Lightning Bolt is kind of a tricky one. Like we saw in the first game, it obviously kills Core Spirit Dancer, which is kind of handy if that comes up. But otherwise it's not very useful, as it can't target the Hexproof guys. So yeah, I think possibly take out all the Lightning Bolts and bring in Anger, Reclamation Sage and Nature's Claim, or maybe just leave in 1 bolt and bring in the Reclamation Sage and the Nature's Claim. But I don't really want to change much else. I don't think. Could bring in Tireless Tracker as a blocker, I guess, but I don't really like that all that much. Yeah, I think probably just stick to bringing in the enchantment removal and potentially Anger of the Gods. Tireless Tracker a possibility, but I'm not sure how good that is necessarily. So here we are with game 2 against Bogles. This hand is pretty good. So we've got turn 1 Search for Tomorrow into turn 2 Search for Tomorrow, which is a nice way to ramp our lands. We've also got Sweltering Sun, which could do a lot of work for us, provided our opponent isn't able to make their Hexproof guys too big too quickly. So we'll see how that goes down. We'll leads off with a Slippery Boggle. Suspend in the Search for Tomorrow. Play out our Wooded Foothills. Ethereal Armour and a Rancor puts our opponent's Boggle at a 5/3, which works out very nicely for us with our Sweltering Sun. So we're going to be able to use that to kill off our opponent's Boggle. He will get the Rancor back, but feel pretty good at getting rid of the Ethereal Armour and the Boggle from the table. It's obviously going to buy us quite a bit of time. Opponent plays a Spirit Dancer and a Dryad Arbor, but isn't able to play any auras immediately, so doesn't draw any cards. And we have a second Sweltering Sun here, which is going to be able to wipe the board again, which is very nice for us. And also up to 6 lands now, so just really need to draw into something. One of our combo pieces, really ideally. So our opponent finds another Spirit Dancer and plays Griff's Boon on it, which gives it flying and +1/+0, which makes it a 3/4 along with the +2/+2 bonus that Core Spirit Dancer gets with each aura. Runs Primeval Titan, which is very nice, but as much as that seems like a windmill slam in this situation, you have to be cautious. Our opponent, we're only on 11 life at the moment, and if he can stick a few auras on that Core Spirit Dancer, it can get pretty huge, and currently it has flying as well, which means it could just fly over us and kill us potentially. And as it stands, we can only get 1 Valakut activation, so we can't actually just kill the Core Spirit Dancer with Valakut activations. So the safe play, and the play I make, is to run out this Reclamation Sage, getting rid of the Griff's Boon, and passing the turn. It turns out to be the right thing to do. Our opponent has a Spider Umbra, and then he has a Daybreak Coronet, so I'm pretty confident that if we just tapped out for the Primeval Titan, we would have died there, as our opponent would have flown over with a huge Spirit Dancer. I respond to the target of the Daybreak Coronet by destroying his Spider Umbra, which in turn makes Daybreak Coronet no longer a legal target of Core Spirit Dancer because it has to be enchanted, and that drops off. So our opponent just has a Spirit Dancer. If I'd been really smart, I would have let the Daybreak Coronet resolve, allowed my opponent to attack, and then destroyed the Spider Umbra, because then Daybreak Coronet would have still have fallen off. And we could have actually blocked with our Reclamation Sage to kill off the Spirit Dancer. So that's what I should have done. But either way, just a good note against Bogles. Daybreak Coronet is not a legal enchantment for anything that doesn't have an aura on it. And that applies at any time, essentially. So it can't ever be the only aura that's enchanting something. So if you destroy the other aura, then Daybreak Coronet will fall off. Yeah, that's what I should have done ideally, and then we would have been able to block and kill off his Spirit Dancer, but it doesn't overly matter in this situation, because what we're planning to do is cast Primeval Titan here, and then we can just kill off the Spirit Dancer with a Valakut activation, but we could have been sending that to the dome if we'd played that better. So Primeval Titan comes down. Valakut activation kills off the Spirit Dancer and gets to attack for 2 here. Up and down to 16. He plays a Glade Cover Scout and a Spirit Mantle, which means he can block the Primeval Titan but still trample over. I'm going to set up any other Valakut and a Mountain. So we can put our opponent down to 10 with the Valakut activation. Down to 4. Oh, sorry, down to 6. Trampling over for 4 damage. And then we have the Shelter Thicket that we've been keeping in hand, which we can hit play here. And that's for 6 extra damage. So we're just able to finish off our opponent here and not take any risks of losing the following turn with some additional auras to this cat's Glade Cover Scout. So yeah, managed to wrap up game 2 nicely and finish that one off. So here we are with game 3. This is our opening hand. We have 2 Scapeshifts, a Summoner's Pact and a Sakura Tribe Elder, Valakut, Cinderglade and a Windswept Heath. It's not bad, it's not great. Can't remember if we keep this or not. Looks like we did keep. I mean, it's certainly not awful, but it's not the most exciting hand. We're going to have to run out of land tapped as well. This opponent plays Dryad, but then he plays a Slippery Boggle and then an Ethereal Armor. So yeah, it would be really nice to have a Sweltering Suns about now, but he's not forthcoming, unfortunately. Bit of a Stomping Ground. Play the Carly Heart Expedition. Play Sakura Tribe Elder, which will be nice, as long as he doesn't give the Boggle Trample. Can save ourselves some damage with that. And we're going to pay out a Cinderglade. Get our first counter on our expedition. Probably Daybreak Coronet. It's kind of unfortunate. But as I say, fortunately it does not give trample, so we are going to be able to block here and then sack the Tribe Elder, which means our opponent's not going to gain any life. And obviously we're going to be able to prevent 6 damage to ourselves, which will certainly come in handy. Play the Valakut here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains. So yeah, sack the Carly Heart Expedition. We can search up 2 mountains, which gets us to 6, and we can get 2 activations of Valakut here. So I'm going to use one at my opponent and the other one to kill out the Dryad Arbor. On 13 life, so the chances of being dead next turn are not huge. What we could have done and what we didn't do, but we will see later, not to spoil things, we can Summoner's Pact for Reclamation Sage. It's easy to think, oh, we should definitely be using Summoner's Pact to find Primeval Titan every time, but yeah, it's important to note that sometimes it's the right thing to do to search up Reclamation Sage or some other creature. So yeah, we can do that. If we do that, we could have blown up the Ethereal Armor and therefore made the Daybreak Coronet fall off, as I have mentioned previously in this video. As it stands, I think I just search for tomorrow, get another land, another activation of Valakut, putting our opponent down to 13, and then pass the turn, hoping to just Scapeshift our opponent to death next turn, basically, and trying to get our opponent as low as possible, essentially, just so we can Scapeshift sufficiently big enough. I'll probably use Galactique, which actually is kind of good tech, I suppose. Means that we can't cast Scapeshift as it stands, but obviously Valakut is able to kill Galactique, So provided we have a land, we're able to just kill off the Galactique, which is thankfully something we can do here. I figure out the Summoner's Pact play here. Unfortunately, I didn't figure it out slightly earlier, but here it is. It's actually not entirely necessary here, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we can Reclamation Sage, destroying the ethereal armor, and therefore putting our opponent's Boggle down to being a 1/1. We used a fetch to fetch up a mountain to kill off the Galactique, and now we're able to just Scapeshift here. Notably, we have used quite a lot of the mountains in our deck. It's good to keep track of how many mountains you've still got in your deck when you can. Kind of difficult to do on the fly usually, but it's definitely something that you want to do to avoid accidentally Scapeshifting incorrectly. I think I sack 6 mountains here. We have more than enough anyway as it stands. It's not really an issue, but you definitely don't want to be able to sack too many of your mountains so you don't have any, or enough to get the Valak activations going, because you do need at least 6 mountains to activate it. So I think I sack around 6 lands, or maybe 7. I think it might be 7 lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I sack 7 lands, and I'm able to search up a second Valakut and 6 other mountains, which is a lot of damage. So that's 36 damage in total. There's a lot of different ways we could have done that, and it would have still worked, but yes, 36 damage to our opponent's dome, and yeah, that wraps up the game. So all worked out pretty well for us. This is an interesting matchup. I don't necessarily say that we're favoured generally. Certainly there's a lot of things that Bogles brings which are difficult for us to deal with, but as you can see, it is possible to win. Being able to search up Reclamation Sages is pretty useful, and we do have some Enchantment Hate in our deck, which obviously helps this matchup quite a lot. Also, if you get lucky with your Sweltering Suns and so on, you can wipe out some of their board, and then ultimately, if you're able to live long enough, you can get the combo off and get things going in that regard. So it kind of depends on how speedily they can put things together, and if they are a bit slow or they stumble, then you've certainly got a good chance of being able to win with the combo. So yeah, all in all, really fun matchup, a very entertaining one from my end of things, and managed to navigate our way to a win.